Hey, Jules, happy February. It is officially February. You have made it through January. We made it through the long January month. But I just wanted to share something really quick that I was reading last night in my book that I'm reading, The 40-Day Sugar Fast. And it was just too good not to share. And it just really made me think. And so when something makes me think like that, I just want to share it with you all. And especially since we've been talking about looking on the inside, clearing our hearts and searching and seeing truly what's in there, um, looking beyond the outside. And so in this chapter, she was talking about being sober minded and of the Lord and being, because the enemy comes to devour. And so be alert, be sober minded. That's in First Peter 5:8. And so she was kind of talking about in the beginning of this chapter, kind of about the argument about alcohol and things like that. But anyways, she said things that she said, well, I'll just read it to you so you can understand what I'm saying. She said, though I agree we are under grace if some people feel that they need to have a drink, but why is it that we are so quick to protect our freedom to do so? And so taking that spin and talking about just in general things in life that we may protect. Have you ever thought about that? Like whenever we begin to think about things that may stand in the way between me and him or between you and the Lord, oftentimes aren't we quick to protect that? No, it doesn't get in between me and the Lord. That TV show doesn't stand between me and him, but yet you can't turn it off to go to the prayer closet, or you can't get out of bed early enough to go and pray. And so sometimes we have to take a little closer look of those things that we are so quick to protect. And it goes on down and it says, the quickest way to recognize an idol in your life is to notice your response when it is taken away. If it trips you up, you've likely stumbled up on a stumbling block. If you are convinced that you cannot forego, she uses alcohol here, but you can use whatever you want to use, anything in life. If you cannot forego X for a few weeks, then I am convinced there's nothing more that you would need to do. And what she was saying, you know, if you are saying I can't do that, there's no way I could let that go for 3 weeks, then there's probably nothing more than you need to let go, or get yourself to a place where that is not an idol in your life. You need to be able uh, to make sure that he is number one and that thing is not number one, and then he works around the thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so I just thought that was really, really good, because when your money is taken away, are you tripped up? When your health is taken away, are you tripped up? When a person is taken from you, or um, a hobby or an activity, um, or whatever, the TV show, a TV series, whatever you want to put there in the midst of it, your sleep, whatever. And if it makes you an ugly person, if it makes you an angry person, if it causes you to stumble, then you need to examine. And many of you know my story. Um, you know, um, I'm trying to think about how to say it in a quick way. Because that's hard for me. Y'all know the whole cow thing with me. Well, there were several years where I didn't have a farm. We didn't do the whole cow thing. There was none of that was possible because I had got to a place that just wasn't where we were at in the season of our life. But the Lord had just kind of moved me away from all that because he was moving me into him. And as I became more hungry for him, and I began to, he was all that mattered to me. And I thought in my mind several times through those years of not having any cows, any farm, really being able to being disconnected from all of that, I thought in my mind several times, I'll probably never have all that again. That was a thing in my past. That was a thing that I did, as a teen. And that's something I grew up doing, in FFA and 4-H. And, I'll probably, that may never be in the cards for me again. And I remember saying, and Lord, I'm okay with that. And I had to get to a place, and the Lord had to know that I was at a place where I was okay with that. I was okay if that never did happen again, if that wasn't what he had in the cards for me. I had to remove that idol in my life and make him number one, because it was an idol for some time. Because when I think back, I would rather, I would have picked that in that time over him, for being honest. And so I never wanted to get to that place again. And I made the Lord, I said, Lord, I never want to do that again. Lord, you are number one. Everything in this barn, everything in this farm is dedicated to you. I pray up there. Y'all know my whole spill about that. If you don't, you can ask me about it. Um, and so that's just a little bit of an example. And I will check myself very often. Lord, if it would ever have to go away, God, you are so good. Father, I never want it to come before you. I want you right in the center of it, whatever I'm doing. I never want it to be an idol. I'm going to pray up here. I'm going to, our farm motto is whatever you do, do it to the glory of the Lord. Whether you're eating, whether you're drinking, whatever you're doing, do it to the glory of God. And so I turn everything with that farm into him. I have on my herd share contract that every gallon of milk, the milk is prayed over. It's a faith-based business. I declare that over my business because he has given it to me. He brought it back around to me after I had it when it was removed in my life for some time, so that I would see that that would never be an idol again in my life. And so, whatever your thing may be, whatever it may be in life, if you can, and I know many of you have already came off of the fast and you're like, we don't want to think about that. We just came off the fast. I know you have, and I know that you guys have given those things up, and that's wonderful. But let's look at all areas of our life. Think about it. And you don't even have to go back on a fast to realize this. You can literally say, okay, Lord, I know I fasted this, but what about this? If I couldn't watch this TV series for 3 weeks and I couldn't turn on my TV for 3 weeks, Lord, what could I do that really? If I could not get on Facebook for 3 weeks, could I do it? Put your thing in there, whatever your thing is. And if you would find yourself saying, I don't think I can do it, then you need to seek the Lord. You need to step away. And you need to ensure that there's nothing standing between you and him, because trust me, there's nothing worth missing him for. There's nothing worth saying, Lord, I love you and I prayed, but I just couldn't deny that thing. I had to put it first instead of you. And we're in a time that this calls for hard. I think we're in a time that calls for hard lines, so to say. Like, it's time to be real. It's time to be serious. It's time for us to examine what the reality is. Okay. We can all sit back and say, yes, we love the Lord. Yes, we have prayer time. Yes, we have Bible time. Yes, I'm living right. Yes, I'm not out here, doing God knows what. But let's think about, like, really the reality of the things we really love that we don't want to push aside to see him. When you've worked all day, you didn't have time in the morning to read or study because maybe you had to get kids ready, you had to get to school, you had to get to work. There was just no time to do your morning devotion or prayer, so you plan to do that midday or evening. And then by the time you get home, you're tired and you're worn out, and this happened and that happened, and then you're just ready to sit back and chill and watch your TV show for a few minutes. But we don't have do you have the enough desire to meet the Lord, to turn that off and go seek him? Just saying. Proverbs 31, 31:27. I wanted to read this one. She watches over the ways of her household. And ladies, if you and I want to watch over the way of our household, then living right, then removing all idols from our life, showing our kids that, yes, I love this TV series, but you know what? I've got to get my prayer time in today. You know what? I love to go do this hobby. But first, I'm going to spend a little bit of time with the Lord. Or no, we're not going to do that today. We'll do it tomorrow, because you know what? I've neglected my Bible reading for the last couple of days, and I really need to seek the Lord. I really need to see him. Can we lay things aside to meet him? Okay. She watches over the ways of her household and does not eat of the bread of idleness. So we talked about idols, right? Idleness is just as bad. When you have nothing to do, when you sit and there's nothing to do, when we're sitting on our phone all night long, scrolling, doing nothing, that's idleness. When you don't have anything to do and there's no purpose, there's nothing. When you have idle time on your hands, we get in trouble, right? We hear there's an old saying that says that. Whether you're working, whether you're just doing duties around the house and taking care of your house and seeing to your kids and stuff, that stuff will all keep you up plenty busy. But the moment we begin to sit and do nothing and we don't take care of what we're called to take care of, and we don't pick up the word and we don't read and pray over our home, and we get stuck on the TV and the phone or whatever it is, we fall into that idleness. And that's, he hasn't called us to be idle. We are to keep moving. And yes, I know some of y'all are saying, hey, he's called us to rest. He has called us to rest. And that's a whole separate thing. Y'all hear me? When you have found yourself, getting sidetracked and you feel yourself being pulled into that idleness and you're not moving forward in the Lord, you're not moving forward in your relationship with him. Your prayer time and your reading time has decreased, your serving time has decreased, your attitude has decreased, and you're in this idle place. It's a dangerous place. So let's examine today, Jules, the idol and the idleness in our life, and make sure that we are tending to the ways well over our household, and that there's nothing that stands between you and Jesus today, because trust me, he's not worth missing it for. And the more you seek him, the more you will find him. Have a blessed day, Jules.